Today in this and that, we're going to be looking at the pond that we built, waterfall that we built a couple weeks ago. We're starting off here by digging out the area for the pond basin that just got put in with the tractor there. The tractor actually came in quite handy. We're also going to use it to move some dirt around and things of that nature. Once the bulk of the moving is done, you're doing some fine tuning there by digging out and patting down certain areas if you want to create some levels to the waterfall, which we ended up doing, as you'll see here at the end result. And levels kind of add some dimension to it, also make it look a little more natural. Once you're done with that, you want to put the pond liner down. Very important that you use a good thick 45 mil liner. Firestone, EPDM, both make one. Definitely do that because you're going to run into problems. You can also put, and we did, an underlayment, a felt underlayment underneath the pond liner itself, and that'll help to avoid punctures from underneath. And then be careful as you're putting rocks and whatnot down as you go through it. We ended up finding a bunch of stone from around our property, which was nice. So a lot of that stone you see there is flagstone or shale. Also, we have a bunch of sandstone and whatnot. Now, we did end up buying the rocks in the back of the truck there. Hang on, we'll take a look at this nice bit of foaming. This is muy importante, as the foam you can put underneath these pieces of shale like we did here. I cut them with a concrete saw, and you put the foam underneath there, and it seals the water. Well, it seals the rock to the liner also, but it allows the water to go over the rock itself. Before this, it was sliding underneath the rock, and there was not much of a waterfall. It just looked like rocks with water running underneath it, and that's definitely not what you want. You can get this stuff at Home Depot or Lowe's. It's kind of pricey, but it's definitely well worth it. Back to building, we are, as I said before, we were able to get most of the stone from our property, but the river rock I actually bought. In the future, I would have it definitely delivered. I wouldn't put it in the back of my truck. While it was easy to move, it was still a pain in the butt then to get out of the actual truck bed. Kind of a nightmare. So as you continue on, don't get discouraged. It is not a day process. I thought maybe this would be like a day or two. It does take some time if you want it to look nice, and that's okay. So each rock, it's not a kid, so as you're going through, you want to be cautious of or cognizant of where you're placing the rocks and having it look somewhat natural if you can there. So each one of these rocks are especially along the sides and top, are painstakingly put into place there, but it pays off in the end. So the other thing too is we ended up redoing this whole bed because there was a maple tree basically right where that waterfall is, or where the waterfall feature is located, and that maple tree was dying. We had to take it out, so we wanted to do something in its place, and we had been talking about doing something like this for a long time, so we ended up going this route. Now that the waterfall is pretty much constructed, we're moving on to actually landscaping. As you can see, we're going through and adding plants, and this became a pretty long drawn out process because we had to decide what plants we went in there, and then we kept adding more and more plants to it. But again, the end result was well worth it. The other thing that I added to, or put back in I should say, is landscape lighting, the low voltage landscape lighting. And as you can see, I'm going around with a post hole digger, and I'm digging out the spots for the landscape lighting. I have another video on that as well, but it's pretty important. I like anyway to dig them out like that and then set them in concrete. That keeps the lights from moving. There's also a couple other tips as far as wiring is concerned, but that's a different video. We'll continue on here, adding the plants and deciding where things are going to go. Again, this is all a tedious kind of, it's a process, and it's, you don't have to do any of this, I guess, but we just figured we're doing the bed, so we might as well do it all in one fell swoop. Also, it's important too, as you go to kind of clean the pond out while you're building it, so the shop vac comes in handy there. You just take that air filter off, and you can just literally get all the water out of there and debris, and kind of start fresh as you go through. Alright, so we're also doing the left side of the bed too. That was long overdue. It needed to be done. We kind of try to do a bed or two a year because they've just kind of gotten overgrown. You'll see there's conduit built, buried, or getting ready to get buried there in the front. That's internet and speaker wire and things like that that I had to rebury because the lines got snipped from the tree service pulling out the tree. It is what it is, but oh well, it's all done now. As we move along, we're getting ready to bring mulch in here in just a few seconds, and that really actually sets the whole project apart. Here we go. So this tractor actually came in quite handy for all this, moving rocks and mulch and everything else. So we're putting the mulch in. There's quite the contrast there between dirt and the dyed black mulch, which I like. I think it's nice. I know everybody's got a preference on mulch color and how they like it, but for me, this I always think looks pretty good. And nothing like mulch to set off a project there. Getting it in. All right, we'll get the other side here, and that's pretty much kind of the end of the project. We'll show a close-up here of the waterfall all said and done, but I mean, you can see it's quite a transformation from where it started to where it is, and it's something you can do on your own, or with as a family like we did, and it's just kind of a fun little project there. Alright, so here we are with it actually running. There's the different levels. You can see digging it out and tamping it down and all that good stuff. It makes a big difference. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'll put some of the information for the materials used and whatnot in the description. If you liked it, please click like and subscribe. Thanks so much, and we'll keep going.